Avoid these 3 fireplace fails. So the first one is going to be a pilot light. So if you don't know what a pilot light is, it's just a little flame that's on your fireplace so when you hit the wall switch, everything ignites. Because I always thought like, oh, I'm gonna get this wall switch connected to my fireplace, I'm gonna walk in, hit the switch, everything's gonna light up. Not the case. At least if you have the old school pilot lights. Now, what I would suggest, and this is where the fail comes in, is to ask for an electronic igniter. They're a little bit more expensive, but what that's gonna do is give you the ability to hit that wall switch and then your fireplace will light up. Here's an example of my current setup, which is the old school way. And you can hear how loud that pilot light is. Super annoying, you can hear it from across the room. And not to mention, it's probably burning $20 a month just in gas if it was gonna stay on all the time. So it's not really practical to have this pilot light. I would much rather have that electronic igniter. All right, the next one's gonna be the Hearth height, and that's that spot in front of your fireplace. So mine personally, it's elevated, it's pretty high, it's almost like the height of a chair, so I can go sit on it, the fire's warm in my back, it's a cool like conversation piece, you can sit on it and then talk to people on the couch. So I prefer it much higher. Others prefer it low down to the floor. Some don't even have any at all, like the flooring will almost go all the way to the fireplace. But more often than not, there will be a hearth and you can determine what you want that height to be. Now here's some of the pros and cons to these different heights, right? So if the fireplace is low, then that allows your neck angle if your TV's mounted above your fireplace. I know some people don't like that, but more often than not, that's just where it's gonna end up going because of the layout of these houses. So if the hearth is lower, you're gonna be looking up at less of an angle. Now mine, the hearth is higher, so that means my fireplace is higher. Now the TV is up higher, so the neck angle is a little off. Dude, I've had it for years now, and it's not really been an issue for me. I kind of just throw my head back and watch a movie, it's no problem. But for some people, it really might be an issue. So just keep those considerations in mind when you're trying to choose that hearth height. And then you have vented versus ventless. So my gas fireplace is ventless. So I know firsthand, you smell it when it's on, right? It's not a big deal. It's not like this crazy issue where we're like, oh God, the fireplace is on. You can just tell that it's on. Versus someone who has a vented fireplace, right? All those fumes and everything that's getting burnt up is getting exited out of the house, which is a nice feature to have. It is more expensive and it probably doesn't warm up the house as much. So that's one con to having that vented fireplace. But knowing what I know now, I would have went vented because I would have just been able to leave the fireplace on and just let it rip all day while we're just hanging around the house. Versus now where we have our ventless and it's kind of pushing all that stuff into the air. I don't know, I just feel kind of dirty breathing that in over a long period of time. So I end up just running it for like an hour or so and then we just cut it off. So when you're having your house built, consider whether you want to go vented or ventless. Me personally, I want that thing vented. All right, and here's an honorable mention. That screen that's in the front, we have this crusty old metal screen that you pull over. It's so hideous and ridiculous. I would have definitely preferred a glass front. I just think it looks cleaner. Probably not as much heat is gonna be coming out, but aesthetically it looks a lot better. So consider that. If you're gonna go with a glass front, you wanna get that early. At least for me with that ugly mesh, I can just rip it off. It's not really a huge deal, but if you're wanting that glass, make sure you tell them right up front. All right, so I'm keeping these videos quick. If you want the next home building tip, make sure you hit that little thumbs up button over there and subscribe, and then you'll be notified when it's released. And if you want a list of all the tips that I talk about, I have a checklist over at builderbrigade.com.